What's up guys, this is Ethan from Next Gen Sneaks. Unfortunately, Simon can't be with us today, but for now, we're going to be reviewing the Nike Zoom Double Stack. So these shoes released on July 2nd on Nike.com and various other sneaker boutiques for a retail price of $230. So these shoes came in a women's size run in a black and Volt colorway. Unfortunately for us, the men's size runs definitely sold out, so we were only able to grab the Volt colorway, which is unfortunately the worst of the two colorways. So moving to the box, this one comes in just your regular standard Nike box, nothing really special here. So let's go on to our initial thoughts. So my first impression of this shoe is that this shoe is really bright. Like under this lighting right now, they're practically glowing. So the next thing that I definitely noticed is really the weight of this shoe. It's really heavy and really bulky. And it reminds me a lot of those designer platform sneakers, kind of like the Balenciaga Triple S. So now let's dive a little bit deeper into the shoe. So starting with the soles, these shoes come in a thick, lime green tread that is semi-translucent to show off the two Nike Zoom pods here in the front, although I think it's a little more clear in the black colorway right here. So the thickness of these treads remind me a lot of the Pharrell NMD trails, and definitely, like those shoes, contributes to the weight of this sneaker. So moving on to the midsole, we've got what we've all been waiting for. So in the heel, we've got the double stacked Zoom units. So if we look at each Zoom unit individually, we can see that they're a lot thicker than what we would normally see in a Nike shoe, such as a Nike Pegasus or other Nike basketball shoes. But I do have one shoe that definitely is similar to the Zoom units used here. So what I have here is the Nike Zoom LeBron 15s. And if we take a look at this middle Zoom unit, it's definitely consistent with the size and shape of what we see in the Nike double stacks. So moving out from the two Zoom units, you can see that they are encased in this rigid plastic cage with multiple cutouts to showcase the Zoom units and the unique design of the midsole, while also providing support, as a double stacked Zoom setup, if done incorrectly, could be very unstable. So moving on to the front of the midsole, here we see the dual Zoom pod setup, which is very similar with Nike's current design language. So the purpose of the dual Zoom pod setup is to provide different types of cushion to different parts of your feet. So if we look at the right Zoom pod right here, this is where the ball of your foot is supposed to be. So normally when you strike down, the ball of your foot is where the most force is supposed to be at. So for this shoe, this would be at a lower PSI to provide the maximum impact protection on your foot. So moving to the left Zoom pod, this would be at a higher PSI to provide more stability within the shoe and to prevent any ankle rolls. So moving up on the midsole, here we see foam for the first time. So reading the Nike press release, they don't really specify what type of foam this is, so we can assume a Phylon or an EVA, nothing really special. So feeling the foam, it's really firm, and so that's to provide a lot more stability within this shoe. As I've said before, Zoom, if done incorrectly, is really unstable. So the designers of this shoe really emphasize stability, as we see with the plastic cup and the really firm foam midsole, to provide as much stability as possible while still being able to feel the maximum amount of zoom. So moving towards the upper of this shoe, it definitely has a much more minimal aesthetic as compared to the loud and unique midsole. So if we look at the front of this upper, it's mainly comprised of a coarse plastic mesh with no real notable features except that it's kind of see-through, so if you change up your socks, you can change the look of this upper ever so slightly. So another feature of this shoe is the large TPU plastic outline of a swoosh, which definitely fits in with the loud, exaggerated design of this shoe. So moving towards the back of this upper, here we see some leather overlays to provide some sort of structure. So feeling the quality of this leather, it's actually quite surprising because I think it's better than some of the Jordans on the market right now. So moving towards the bottom of this leather panel, here we see this two-tone embroidered Nike swoosh with some Volt on the outside and some white on the inside. And I think this mini swoosh contrasts very well with the large TPU swoosh that we mentioned earlier. So moving towards the back of this shoe, we see another large leather overlay and another embroidered Nike swoosh in the middle with some embossed Nike text that's kind of hard to see. So weaving through this leather panel is a large Volt heel tab, which fits very well with the design language of this shoe. So looking at the lacing system and tongue of this shoe, it's definitely reminiscent of a lot of the current Nike running shoes. So for me, this doesn't really work that well because I have more of a wide foot and these designs are more geared towards a narrow foot. So now that we've gone over this shoe, it's time for me to take a couple days to test these guys out. So I'll see you guys in a few.
3 days later.
Alright guys, I'm back. It's been a couple days. I've tested out the shoe. Now let's get into that $1 million question. Is this shoe comfortable? So starting off with the front of the shoe, the feeling is definitely pretty firm, as you can feel the impact protection of the Zoom units, but the firm foam definitely mutes a lot of the springy properties that we would come to expect from a good Zoom setup. So where my problem does lie is within the design of the shoe itself. So if you don't strike perfectly on top of the double stack Zoom units, which happens a lot more than I thought it would, your foot would end up underneath these plastic plates. So when your foot is underneath these plastic plates, you'll have this weird unstable feeling as the plastic plates bend underneath the weight of your foot. Now, are these plates gonna break on you? No, these plastic plates are pretty rigid, and that's where the problem is, as you don't really feel a lot of the Zoom in the heel, and you definitely feel a lot more instability. And this problem is not apparent in a lot of other Nike or Adidas shoes for that matter. So overall, I'd have to give a lot of credit to the designers of this shoe for making something that got a lot of us talking. But unfortunately, given the high price point and mediocre comfort of this shoe, I definitely cannot recommend it, given there are better options on the market. But what I will say is though, I'd be excited for a 2.0 version of this shoe, because there's definitely a lot of potential here with this double Zoom setup. I just think they need to mature the design of this sneaker to hopefully take away more plastic as it gotten away with the comfort of the shoe. So that's it for the review today. My name's Ethan. If you like seeing more of me, like and comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Peace.